Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
At Bobby's, Carly has lunch with Lucas and Joss. Lucas called the meeting to reveal that he and Marco are moving in. When he reveals they're moving into Windmere, Carly countries, that is Aunt passing. Carly calls moving in with Sidwell insanity, and that the man is a sanguine maniac. Lucas throws Sunny in her face, but she argues that Lucas is just trying to prove he's over Brad, and Marco could be using him for his connection to Sunny. Lucas is disrespected that Carly thinks he's a tool, and Marco feels nothing for him. Carly asks Joss to help her, but Joss states this is Lucas' decision, and they need to support him. Lucas thanks Joss and tells his family he doesn't need her blessing to be happy. He storms out. Carly and Joss head into the kitchen, where Joss says she'll try to smooth effects over with Lucas. Carly doesn't want her to and is dissatisfied in her son. What does Stella want Curtis to do? Curtis is having lunch with Aunt Stella, who has derived that he and Portia are awaiting a baby. Curtis says Portia doesn't want anyone to know until she's through the first trimester, but Stella is family and doesn't understand why he kept this from her. He says it's because they're getting a divorce. Stella blurts out, "No, you're not." Curtis tries to explain that his and Portia's marriage was broken before they set out about the baby, but Stella feels that this baby changes everything. Stella yells that he's renouncing his responsibility to his marriage and child, and his mama would not authorize. She believes he and Portia will work this out for their child. Curtis informs her that this isn't her decision to make. What's on Trina's mind? At Ava's gallery, Ava can tell commodity is bothering Trina. Trina tells her friend that her parents are blistering, and she knows her parents love one another, and they didn't grow piecemeal on their own. There was hindrance in their marriage. Sidwell, Marco, and Jordan appear, and Ava says she congratulates Marco on the news. Marco thanks Ava for her support of him and Lucas, and hopes she joins them for regale soon. Trina asks what brings Jordan in, and Jordan explains she wants some art for her new place. Trina offers to show her a new artist they got pieces in from, and they head off. Marco heads out, leaving Ava with Sidwell. Sidwell jokes that this move virtually makes them family. He also hopes that this may lead to peace between him, Carly and Sunny. Ava tells him Carly isn't known for being peaceful, and if Sunny loses his peers, he'll be veritably hot. Meanwhile, Trina switches out at Jordan, criminating her of being the reason her parents are getting a divorce. Jordan insists she has nothing to do with her parents' opinions, but Trina doesn't believe her, as she can see through Jordan like glass. Can Rick save Rocco? At the PCPD, Rick meets with Turner in the interrogation room, as he's representing Rocco at Sunny's request. Rick says Rocco is a minor with no priors. Justine is ready to offer a time of community services. Rick wants 2 months, so Justine offers 6 months. In the station, Britt addresses to Nathan about Rocco. Nathan assures her that this is a misdemeanor offense and he'll presumably just get community service. As they head out to the courthouse together, Britt sees Dalton show up, asking to meet with Turner. Dalton speaks with Turner alone, telling her she needs to hear what he has to say. At Sunny's, Gio and Rocco step out to the yard, and Sunny tells Lulu about hiring Rick to represent Rocco. Sunny says his family is motivated to prove himself to him, and it's a good thing the charges against Rocco aren't serious. In the show's final moments, Lucas arrives at the gallery, and Sidwell steps out to take a call. Lucas thanks Ava for trusting him to live his own life and cries to her about Carly's words. They embrace. Trina tells Jordan that her pater loves her and listens to her, and she'll make sure Jordan and her pater no way get back together. At Bobby's, Carly tells Josh she should have told Lucas to run screaming from Marco and Windmere, as she knows better than anyone how dangerous Sidwell is. Joss looks stupefied. Meanwhile, Stella tells Curtis, be a good father, fix your marriage, stay with your woman, and raise your child. Else, I promise you, you'll lament it. At Sunny's, Emma tells Gio that she wouldn't let him take the fall for this. She'll come clean with him, and they should do it right now. In court, the judge orders Rocco to stand trial, and until also, he's to be held in guardianship. A bail hail will be set in 2 days, though bail isn't guaranteed, Dante assures Rocco, who panics, that they'll figure this out. Outside the courtroom, Marco calls his father and says, "It's over and worse than we stressed." In court, Nathan weighs in to be a friendly face for Rocco as he goes through this, and promises the boy he'll be okay. Rocco screams that he didn't do this as he's let out. Sonny glares at Turner, and Laura tells Sonny that someone has framed Rocco. In the heart of Port Charles, a series of tense confrontations serve as a brutal baptism for its residents, plunging them into new eras defined by conflict, betrayal, and the heavy weight of familial expectation. This baptism is not one of welcome, but of fire, forged in the clashing of encouraging words meant to support and angry threats meant to control. From the familiar booths of Bobby's to the stark halls of the courthouse, characters are forced to confront the consequences of their choices and the fierce, often misguided, protectiveness of those who love them. A clash of wills at Bobby's, protection or control? The day at Bobby's diner begins with a semblance of normalcy, a family lunch between Carly, her brother Lucas, and her daughter Jocelyn. But the calm is shattered when Lucas makes his announcement. He and his new partner, Marco, are taking a significant step forward in their relationship by moving in together. The news, however, turns from celebratory to contentious when he reveals their new home is Windmere, the ancestral castle of Nicholas Cassadine, and by extension, the current domain of the manipulative and dangerous Spencer Sidwell, Marco's father. Carly's reaction is immediate and visceral. "That is not happening," she declares, her maternal instincts firing on all cylinders. She labels the move insanity, branding Sidwell a homicial maniac and arguing that Lucas is blindly walking into the lion's den. When a defensive Lucas throws her own history with Sonny Corinthos back in her face, Carly refuses to equate the two. She sees a more insidious motive, accusing Lucas of using this reckless move to prove he is over his ex-husband, Brad, and positing that Marco might be using Lucas as a pawn to get closer to Sonny's power and influence. The argument escalates from a disagreement to a profound personal rift. Lucas is deeply insulted that his sister views him as a tool, a man so unlovable that Marco's feelings couldn't possibly be genuine. He turns to Jocelyn, seeking an ally, and finds one. Joss, though likely sharing her mother's concerns, believes in Lucas's autonomy. "This is Lucas' decision," she tells Carly, advocating for support rather than opposition. This stance feels like a betrayal to Carly. Lucas, empowered by Joss's support, delivers the final blow. He doesn't need Carly's approval to be happy. He storms out, leaving a chasm of hurt and anger in his wake. The subsequent kitchen confrontation between mother and daughter deepens the family divide, with Carly disappointed in Joss's perceived naivete and Joss stuck between supporting her uncle and appeasing her terrified mother. Unwanted counsel and fractured families. A similar dynamic of unsolicited advice and familial pressure unfolds between Curtis Ashford and his Aunt Stella. Over lunch, Stella's sharp intuition deduces the truth Curtis and Portia are hiding: they are expecting a baby. While Curtis explains they are waiting until after the first trimester, the real bombshell is his admission that he and Portia are getting a divorce. Stella's response is an immediate, forceful decree: "No, you are not." She operates from a place of traditional values and deep family loyalty, believing a child changes everything. She accuses Curtis of abdicating his responsibility to his marriage and his unborn child, invoking the memory of his mother to cement her guilt trip. In her view, the baby is a divine intervention meant to repair their broken bond. Curtis, however, stands his ground, asserting the painful truth that the marriage was fractured long before the pregnancy and, most importantly, that the decision is not hers to make. This clash highlights the struggle between older generations' views on duty and the modern right to pursue personal happiness, even in the face of a life-changing event. This marital breakdown is having a ripple effect, most painfully on their daughter, Trina. At the gallery, she confides in Ava Jerome that her parents are splitting up. Trina, with the clarity of a child who knows her parents intimately, refuses to believe they simply grew apart. She is certain there was interference, and her suspicions immediately fall on Police Commissioner Jordan Ashford, Curtis's ex-wife. When Jordan arrives at the gallery, Trina's hurt and anger boil over. She lashes out, directly accusing Jordan of being the reason for her family's destruction. Despite Jordan's denials, Trina vows to use her influence with her father to ensure he and Jordan never reconcile, a painful example of a child being thrust into the center of adult conflicts. A gathering storm, frameworks and dark alliances. Meanwhile, the shadow of Spencer Sidwell grows longer. His joking remark to Ava that Lucas and Marco's union practically makes us family is a thinly veiled threat, a signal of his intent to weave his influence deeper into Port Charles's power structure. Ava, ever the pragmatist, warns him that Carly is not peaceful and that Sonny will become very hot if he feels his territory, and his family, is being threatened. This sets the stage for a potentially violent confrontation. Simultaneously, a legal drama is unfolding that threatens to ensnare the younger generation. Rocco is in serious trouble with the law, and despite Sonny hiring his brother, Rick Lansing, to secure a light sentence, the situation rapidly deteriorates. The mysterious arrival of Dalton, who insists on a private meeting with the prosecutor, Turner, hints at a larger conspiracy. The outcome is far worse than anyone anticipated. The judge orders Rocco to be held in custody until his trial, with bail not guaranteed. As a panicked Rocco is led away, screaming his innocence, the final pieces of a frame-up click into place. Marco's ominous phone call to his father, stating, "It's over and worse than we feared," confirms that this is not a simple misdemeanor but a calculated move in a much darker game.